Welcome back to the Zero E Michigan podcast. Happy New Year. 2024 was a fantastic year from an EV perspective with lots of road trips for me. And that included over 9,000 miles with my Zero electric motorcycle, including an epic trip to electrics at the Dragon, at Tail of the Dragon down in North Carolina. I plan to do that trip again this year. The event is happening again. If you like moto vlogs, travel vlogs with EVs, check out the playlist on my YouTube channel for that. Had a lot of fun making that and everything about charging and traveling with an electric motorcycle. You may have noticed it's been a few months since I recorded a podcast or a video or added any video content for that matter. And if you know me personally, my wife and I are Santa and Mrs. Claus for the holidays, so that takes up quite a bit of bandwidth during the pre-Christmas season, and I do plan to do that again next year. So if you need a Santa for your holiday event or home visit, feel free to contact me. Larry has been busy with life, and we haven't really connected regarding EV topics. We're still talking. It just hasn't happened as far as recording any podcasts or bringing guests on. Also, ever since the presidential election in November 2024, it just feels like there wasn't a whole lot of new content in the EV space, lots of speculation about what's to happen moving forward with the new administration. And so really haven't had any need to put any content out there. However, now that the Santa season is over, there are a few things I did want to talk about looking forward to 2025. One of them is actually this podcast format. The podcast itself, the audio version, just feel like I'm not getting a lot of traction. I'm still going to continue to do it, but the hosting platform that I use, Buzzsprout, they do charge for keeping the podcasts hosted there and archived. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the free version of that, which means the older ones are not going to get archived. But all of these are also on YouTube, so the content will still be there. We're not a monetized channel, so any of that money is just coming out of my own personal pocket. Anyway, I'm going to go back to the free podcast hosting, and we'll see what that means in terms of Buzzsprout, but it will still be on YouTube. EV news. Wanted to talk a little bit about charging networks. The travel that I did in the last couple of months found that the EVGo network at the Pilot and Flying J travel centers is being built out quite a bit. I set up my own personal Model Y to use the plug-in charge, and that's worked really well with the adapter. You literally just take the adapter, put it in there. There's some videos from last year where I did that, so I'm not going to go into details. But I'm finding those very useful. I'm finding those pretty fast. I'm finding that they are at the places that I want to go. The only downside is that they tend to be a little bit more expensive, even compared to the Tesla Superchargers. Rivian is supposed to be opening up their charging network to other brands. Now, if you live in Michigan, you probably know at some of the state parks, we already have the level 2 chargers. I've actually reviewed some of those on my channel. But the DC fast chargers so far have not been open to other brands. I know that there's one in Michigan. I believe it's in Lansing, but hopefully those will be opening up to other brands. And my understanding is that you don't actually need the app. You can just pay with a credit card. So we'll see how that goes. Certainly welcome to have more chargers. The Tesla Supercharger build out. I know that there's a relatively new station here in West Grand Rapids. I personally have not used that one because it's not on my way. But the other thing is that other brands are getting access to these. As you probably know, Ford, GM, Rivian have access to that already. For me personally, what I'm interested in is that the Kia and Hyundai access, and that's supposed to be happening this month, January 2025. I will have a separate video on what to do if you will have a Kia or Hyundai and what you need to do to prepare. So, for example, some vehicles are going to be getting a free adapter. There's some news on that. I'm not going to replicate what Tom Malachny on State of Charge has done. He actually did a review of the charger that is coming to the Kia owners. And so, heads up on that. Some of those are only good for 350 amps, and that's less than what is commercially available. So there are some concerns about that. I'll put a link to Tom's video in the show notes and video description here. But the other thing is that not every Kia and Hyundai vehicle, I believe every Hyundai, but not every Kia EV is going to be getting a free NACS to CCS adapter. So if you don't qualify, you may want to go out and buy one. Now, I have an older 2022 Kia Niro EV, and I already know that that's not going to qualify. So I ordered a Lectron Vortex charger NACS to CCS. It's the one that I felt was good quality, safety certified, and I'll put a link to what I ordered. And so now I have that in hand, and as soon as those networks open up, then I should be able to use that. But I'll make a separate video again about how to tell when those are opened up, what you need to do in terms of adapters, what you need to do in terms of downloading the Tesla software and things like that. NLX juice boxes and OpenEVSE. If you are an owner, you probably know that NLX will be shutting down their North American operations, which means they're shutting down their servers, which means you will not have access to any of the advanced features. And this was kind of a big deal because, we buy these pieces of equipment and we assume that that support is going to be there, and it's not in this case. There's a group called Juice Rescue that is looking into what can be done. They're doing some things with software, but they're also working with this company called OpenEVSE. I personally have one of the OpenEVSE chargers. I bought a kit from OpenEVSE that has just about everything for the internals, except things like the cables and some of the more expensive pieces. And I put that together. I'll be putting a video out on that whole assembly. It's pretty detailed. So if you're not into the tech of how an EVSE works and how you want to put it together, it may not be for you. Uh, but the interesting part of this is that OpenEVSE is working on a circuit board for the juice boxes so that it can be dropped in and it will then function like an OpenEVSE, and you'll be able to get some of those advanced features back. I just got an email from that group, and it looks like they're targeting $99 for that card. So the message here is if you have a juice box and you're willing to do that, don't throw it out. And even if you're not willing to do it, maybe somebody else would be willing to do that. It's not something that you want to put in the trash. It will still have some value. In the meantime, if you decide that you're going to spend money on another EVSE, make sure that you get something that's OCPP compliant. That's a software standard for chargers so that if something like this happens again, another company can go in and load their software onto one of those chargers and allow it to work without any hardware changes. My personal recommendation on this is the Grizzl-E line of chargers, and my personal favorite is the Grizzl-E Mini. I did a review on that. I'll put a link in the show notes and video description. What's nice is it fits that compliance requirement. It's also compact, and it can be both a home charger and a mobile charger. It has other adapters with it. It's a good price point. It's Canadian made. It's suitable for cold climates, safety certified. I don't know if they have all of their UL listings, but they are certainly designed with that in mind. Next, let's talk about the upcoming shows and events. There are a few that are coming up here. CES, Aptera will be there. They're readying some of their production intent vehicles. And so they're kind of out of the prototype phase. I'm not going to go, but I am watching that as a reservation holder. My reservation for the launch edition says 2026, so it's still going to be a while before they do mass production, but it is looking pretty good. Hopefully they will get some investors coming out of CES. The Detroit Auto Show is coming up January 10th to the 20th. I'm not sure I'm personally going to go. Where I am going to go is the Grand Rapids Auto Show. That's coming up January 30th through February 2nd. I am scheduled to be there supporting the Electric Avenue feature with James Morin from the Electric Mitten blog. I plan to be there Thursday starting around 4 p.m. until close at 9 p.m. And then it runs Friday the 31st from 11 to 9. Saturday, February 1st from 10 to 9, and Sunday the 2nd from 10 to 5. Consumers Energy will also be there. I'm hoping to see some more plug-in vehicles, and I'm really hoping to see a Volkswagen ID Buzz. Some of the local West Michigan dealers are starting to get them in. Here in Muskegon, I contacted them, and they said, yes, they do have one in. The weather's been kind of awful, so I didn't want to test drive one just yet. I'm kind of thinking maybe Santa Carl needs a new red and white sleigh in the form of an ID Buzz. But yeah, it's a little bit expensive and the specs aren't 100% what I'd like. So, and I have to see what my personal vehicle situation is, but that would be kind of a fun vehicle to see and check out on the inside. And finally, the EV Driver Social. For those in West Michigan, our Michigan EV Facebook group organizes a monthly EV Driver Social event. So we just meet at a restaurant or brew pub and just casually talk about EVs. Everybody buys their own food and beverages, come and go as you please. We're kind of targeting that Wednesday before the Grand Rapids Auto Show, and I'm looking at Cedar Springs. So if you're an EV newbie or you have some questions, come out. We're happy to share our experience. That should be listed on the Facebook group. Again, I'll put a link in the show notes and video description so you can join that group. You can check out the events. Come on out. That's always fun, and it's something to do in the colder months where we're not doing a lot of driving. So that wraps things up for right now. Again, stay tuned. A couple other videos that I have on deck that I'm planning to do. Maybe not have the same level of content we did in 2024, but I want to cover some of the important things here for West Michigan. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. If you enjoyed or learned from this episode of Zero E Michigan, please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. Visit our YouTube channel for other related videos at youtube.com/@0E-Michigan.